All right, guys. Well, this is Brian behind the camera. We are practicing our 6-foot safe distance right now here with Joe. And I just wanted to ask Joe a couple questions. Joe, you guys did your first virtual Zoom group
We did.
last night. So
Yep.
today's Thursday. You guys
Yep.
did it last night, Wednesday night. And so I'm going to lob a few questions. So just
Sure.
overall, tell me a little bit about, in general, how did it go?
Well,
How was it received?
I'm not like a super techie, but I'm decent, and I'm very Mac oriented, so I'm kind of used to doing some of that stuff. Although I was nervous about it, honestly, so I spent quite a bit of time just trying to get to know it a little bit myself. And then I was very concerned that we would struggle getting the group to work. But I was able to join Zoom and sign up and get an account. I think I instead of a password, I used Google to sign in. And so I signed in with Google and then launched it. And then I messed a little bit. And then I did a couple like a little bitty meetings with 1 or 2 people just to see that I make sure I understood it. And then once I did that, I set up a meeting for 7 o'clock that night. I did notice that the default is Pacific time. So you need to go in and reset the default of the time, or you won't be aware that the time will be an hour off. So go in there and you have to choose Central Time. That's something I discovered.
Yeah.
That for some reason they have it on West Coast time as the default, which is kind of weird. I thought it would just automatically do that. It did not.
Okay.
So be sure you go and choose Central Time. Set your time for your meeting. For us, that was 7 o'clock at night. We're going to do like a 7 to 8. And I just did the basic. I did not buy the professional. The professional promises you unlimited meetings, and you can go as long as you want. But I think they're suspending that right now, and that anybody, even on the free, can have as long a meeting as they want. Usually it's 40 minutes, and you have to start paying a little something. It was free, and I think it's going to be free for a while.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's just off the cuff. So I then set up the meeting. And then you copy the URL, and then I went to my email, and then I emailed a copy of the URL or the meeting, and sent it to all my group.
Okay.
And then I got on the computer about 10 or 15 minutes early and started the meeting, and then they just started joining.
Okay.
And
does it kind of look like the Brady Bunch?
It looks like the Brady Bunch.
Okay.
We even said that. We even said that. Although it felt like Hollywood Squares.
Okay.
But it looked like the Brady Bunch. And we actually looked down and looked across.
Okay.
You would think that you couldn't really hear each other or you couldn't have the meeting. I was shocked at how good it was.
Cool.
In fact, we're going to have our last night we just went deep with each other, see how you're doing, how can we pray for each other. We spent an hour and 15, 20 minutes at least together, praying, talking, laughing. In fact, I was telling you earlier, here are the comments from 3 of the folks. Pastor Joe, thank you so much for the Zoom small group. I personally needed this. God has blessed our family for bringing Stonebridge in our lives. Ginormous hugs. Then a second one. Loved we could get together via Zoom. Made my week! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. That was much needed fun. Multiple emoticons. So because of the isolation, a lot of us are feeling kind of cloistered and are getting a little stir crazy. This really helped tremendously. Everybody's mood was lifted. We talked about work, about about children, about our homes, about getting groceries, just everything. And just kind of went through the whole experience with each other. And it really was. It felt like you got out of the house and got to be with your small group, that you didn't miss it. It's not one more thing that you can't do. It felt like a normal small group. Interestingly enough, and everybody got very comfortable and cozy, I might add, in their own homes, because everybody's in their own homes. So there may have been a few people in their PJs. I'm not completely sure, but they looked very comfortable. I even saw maybe one teddy bear and a blanket. So I don't know. People really seemed to enjoy it. I would say 2 or 3 people were on their phones. And then most people were on their laptop computers or their regular computers. Okay. There was a little bit. It was a little tricky sometimes to get people to turn their microphone on or to turn usually their video on. Okay. And so you have to kind of maybe walk through. And I think they're going to handle the technical part on the other part of the video.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if our group would go. I mean, all of our group are mainly my age and even a little older. There's a few younger, but mainly older. And I would think, okay, we're not the most tech savvy people in the world.
Yeah.
It went off really smoothly. But I would give yourself 15 minutes at the beginning of the meeting just to get everybody on board.
Okay, that's good.